In the spirit of Pelosi's trades, we wanted to bring you another one that she's holding, which is Google. She has Google calls again, January 2026, that she took around this time right here. Same thing that we discussed with Amazon. There was a test of 163 ish in October 25th. That same line retested November 25th. She actually took her long, or she reported the long a little bit after election. So what we're guessing is November 5th, this level here, 168, let's say, 168 held. It ping pong. Then obviously we squeezed. We touched 207 by the time we reversed. Everybody has reversed since November. But we're near again some of the area that she was in before, right? So when she took this trade, we were defending in this area. It did go a little bit under, and then it recovered, right? It's filled most of its gaps, except there's a gap back here from March, actually, 2024 to 143. Now, in terms of trend lines, we have a very, very, very bearish trend line all the way down here. It doesn't touch till almost July or June of next summer. What does she know? Again, as we said in the Amazon video, there's a possibility of humanoid robotics to help with labor costs coming into Q4. Does she know that? Is this going to be a flop? Who knows? In terms of levels, this level is holding, which is about the 163 area that she took her original position in, which is right here. If 165 holds and 168 breaks out, there's also a little gap down that we caught that there is here. But if it breaks out above 168, she's going 178, 182, 185. So on and so forth, going into all-time highs. Now, everything bounced on Friday, right? We had called in one of our videos. If you want to look at our video regarding futures and the pivot and turnaround on Friday, we're getting bullish momentum going into FOMC and going into OPEX, right? Now, does it mean that it's going to hold? Who knows? If this rejects here 168, we could easily come down to 153 and start retesting some of these lows from March of 2024 down to 130. None of us know where the market's going to go, but she is one of the best traders in the history of Congress. Does that mean that she knows we're going to go all-time highs? We have a suspicion that she's targeting up here somewhere into next year, until the 250, the 220 area, 250 area on robotics. She could be wrong, but my odds are always with her. Level wise, if we keep holding this 165 pivot from Friday, which is the same pivot that from when basically she took this trade, and breaks out 170, we're going to 178. So that's a trade you can take. If we hold, you could take longs, manage your risk because we can lose. So if you're going to take this long, have your stop loss, let's say, the Tuesday low from CPI, which was bullish 160. If we break 160, you're out of the trade, and then you set an alert for 153, so on and so forth. We keep, you keep walking it down, because our trend line is this red trend line, and it's bearish. But obviously she knows something, and this can turn into a new support, right? So it could turn this trend line that goes back from March 2024. If you actually run a trend line right from here, and you run it through here, it's just shy of that. It's just shy right there of that. But let's just say, hypothetically speaking, she knows something. This turns into support. Let me turn that green so you can see it as a trend line. These turn into support. All of a sudden, this trend line becomes support again. We're off to the races, and we're going to all-time highs. And let's just say this becomes support and we don't retest it, and that was the low. If we're looking at January high, well, let's say she has calls for January of 2026, that would put us at the 245 level. Again, not a guarantee, but her contract expires in January. So if she's wrong, she's going to have to exercise and absorb them if we're way down here. If not, we're letting you know now that 245, 250 is her marker, assuming this trend line defends, and that's the low, and everything is low. Again, last year we had the drawdown from July, right? The July correction, everything came down to about August. It bounced. In September, we always have that quote unquote 9/11 low. It's a remembrance. Most of Wall Street sells everything. Everything was bought up and we went to all-time highs. We've had our correction. Does it mean that we don't get more of a drawdown later in the year? Who knows? We're going to find out together. But this trend line is possible if we break out above 168 and then start turning these into support. We want to see actually by April 25th, we want to see this 168 area becoming support that gives us confirmation that this trend line is correct. If 163-ish turns into resistance, she's coming home. She's going to hit 153. That's actually a good short you could take. Just be careful. This is oversold. It's on a bearish divergence, but I would more likely like to see some sort of retest. Let's say this defends. Let's see 178 reject rather than taking a short on a low already. I don't necessarily like shorting fear. Fear tells me greed's coming and we're going to start squeezing, right? So I would rather see this resistance. Actually, this would be a beautiful trade. If we see 190, 191, and then this turns into resistance, as it was here in February 5th, that would be a great short back down, right, to 168 first, and then see if this turns into support because we have a trend line that we can take a peek at and say, hey, is the bottom in, at least for Google, right? Let's not assume that everything is in because there's been a 10% correction. But her other trade is NVIDIA. NVIDIA all-time high was 800, and that was a phenomenal short squeeze 4 years ago. History doesn't always repeat, but she sure as hell rhymes. So keep in mind, Google has AI, the Gemini. They just made some announcements. They're testing humanoids. So these companies go from sort of bubble to bubble. The AI bubble may have popped, but the humanoid bubble may be circulating, and they're a player, not only with the Gemini AI, but with the robots that they're testing with Amazon, with Tesla, and their Optimus, which coincidentally held support that we talked about on it, that we'll talk on a different video. The 220 held. We have a target long of 550 into summer, into October, and summer generally is bullish. I expect one more low in April. So if we get a bullish push, excuse me, if we get a bullish push, let's just say into FOMC, it's bullish. We go up to here. Remember that April 1st is CPI. We already have the number. It's bullish. You can join our Discord, subscribe and like, and type in Discord. But we're going bullish into April 1st. That April 2nd, we know a short's coming in if we keep hearing tariff talk. So let's just say hypothetically we're anywhere in this area. It's a short for a quick retest into April 29th, and that's a seasonal low probably on everything for this for at least a proposed summer run. Does that mean we roll over in October? Yes, but we're going to be rolling over possibly from somewhere in here. So don't be so quick to short because you hear fear, because you hear the end of the world. Usually the end of the world is usually a bottom. And when everybody's calling for all-time highs and we're in the 200s, to sell and to short. But here's a quick update on Pelosi's trades. If you have any questions, please comment below. Enjoy.